Hi everyone, quick word of warning before I start the episode. Just to let you know, we did have a lot of audio problems when recording this episode. A lot of bump sounds, a little bit of echo as well. We are recording in a new location. Perhaps we didn't do the adequate amount of sound testing before we hit that record button. So just bear that in mind. All these issues will be fixed by the time we record again, but I just thought I'd let you know. Hopefully you still enjoy the episode and it's not too much of a negative. So without further ado, here it is. Hello there, and welcome to a new episode of New Meta. We are a Dota 2 podcast. Joining me is not only my regular guest, Mark and Adam, but also a new godly figure in the Dota 2 universe, a new hero. So I'm super excited for episode 9, Mars, and a mini patch. But before we get there, the old crew is reunited as we welcome the long-awaited return of Marco Taco. How are you, sir?
Yo! I'm super glad to be back. I'm happy that my seat is open and free. I was a bit worried that I might be on the bench. But yeah, buzzed to be back. I've been missing this.
We'll see how you do today.
Oh, the marking criteria is out.
Yeah, I've got pen and paper here. Guest Nick and Guest Joe are chomping at the bits to get on another episode.
They're clipping at my heels.
And Adam, your name is safe on the team sheet. You'll be glad to hear, as the only regular panelist, I think, the only regular co-host.
Feels so good.
Yeah.
We'll see how you do today, Marco. If we're rusty after your trip.
Yeah. How's the Dota been since Southeast Asia? Or during Southeast Asia?
So during Southeast Asia, it was absolutely phenomenal. So one of the highlights was going to a LAN cafe in Penang with the locals. Watching people play Dota over the shoulders, giving them my judgmental. I was trying to find an unranked game because you're on a new setup and everything. You don't really want to be playing ranked. Could not find an unranked game, so I was like, fuck it, I'm going to have to jump into a ranked game. Find one. I'm there with all these quite high Immortal C players. Pretty intense kind of stuff, get in the game. I'm like, alright guys, some UK boys, show me some good C Dota. And everyone's like, oh yeah, go away with your positivity. But it's a super sick team. Everyone's on comms, like really good skill level. Basically win that game and ding Divine 7 off that game. So it's just phenomenal time all round. And then plus, yeah, the trip was amazing. Come back from the trip and the ranked has been pretty dark. Lost quite a lot of games recently. So yeah, it's been a bit rough.
Started the last 3 days 0-3.
Yeah. Yeah, the mornings haven't been great. But no, we'll climb back.
It's fine. Rank doesn't matter when there's a new hero out. All bets are off. Everyone's first picking Mars in ranked. They've never seen this hero before. It's a funny place out there at the moment.
How have you been doing in ranked, Adam? Have you played much?
Yeah, I've played a decent amount. No, I have not played Mars yet. Don't really have any interest in picking
no
it for
interest.
myself.
Wow. Anyway,
one of those people that usually ban it. Just
you're one of those grumpy old men.
Yeah.
I don't want to see the new hero in my game.
Well, for the first few days, I didn't. Whenever it was in the game, I never saw it win. So
until yesterday, bro. Come on.
Yeah, until yesterday. Actually, I think I had Mars on my team 3 times yesterday, and we won every game. So
wow,
people are starting to figure it out.
Yeah,
and the listeners will be eager to find out if we've started figuring them out for this
yeah,
podcast.
I've seen Stan Mars already. It was
yeah, I watched that in person. I was tearing up. It was so bad.
That was before that. So that I played my game of Mars in solo ranked after demoing the hero for like 4 minutes.
Yeah,
so I jumped into solo ranked. First pick Mars feels good. Easy minus 25, obviously, but that's the price you pay. I was willing to take a minus 25 to get that first Mars experience. See what's up. It's good fun. I had fun. I will just short story time. The release of Mars, when it actually came out. So me and Marco were eating dinner with our cousin in a restaurant, and we're having good fun conversation. And then I look down at my phone and I see a bunch of WhatsApp messages, the top one being Adam, being you, Adam, in caps. Mars is out. This isn't a joke. This isn't a joke. And I looked across at Mark and I was like, Mars is out. This isn't a joke. And we looked at each other like, we need to get, obviously we didn't rush off or anything, but it was a bit like, maybe we won't stay for that extra drink then. I don't know. Adam, what did you think when you first saw Mars? Instant reaction sort of thing?
Yeah, I was in the RD2L Discord, and so I was at work when he came out, so I couldn't just jump into the client and read anything.
Right.
And I just looked at the abilities and didn't even see the numbers on them, and these abilities all seem pretty good. And then I was in the RD2L Discord, and everyone was losing their minds. It was all caps chat, just the chat moving so fast. And it was all the tiniest things that people were freaking out over. They were just like, did you see his turn rate? Oh my God. His movement speed. They're already past the spells. There's he has 62 base damage. He has 3 armor. He has 3.6 strength gain. This is the most OP thing I've ever seen. That was...
Yeah.
And then people were like, oh my God, he's ranged. Kind of long melee. That wasn't... Yeah, no one knew that at first either. Just figured he was a PL or something, hitting with a spear. But it's no, he kind of chucks it a little bit. He's a little bit shorter than Monkey King.
Yeah, he is a little shorter, yeah. It was funny when we got back, we're using public Wi-Fi at the moment, basically. So our download speed for the update, it took us 20 minutes to update. So we were we wanted to go on the Reddit blog page to read the patch notes and read the abilities, but we didn't want to slow the download speed of the update down. So we were in didn't really know what to do. It was so awkward trying to find out what this hero actually did.
I was trying to download the patch, and then when you load a web page and it loads it from top to bottom, it was doing that on the Mars thing. I was like, come on, get going, get going.
Yeah.
And then it was really frustrating because in client, because new patch, a bit buggy and whatnot, I don't know if this was the case for you, Adam, but when I tried to watch a game in client, it would bug out and not let you get into that game. So there was loads of pros playing Mars, obviously the first or second game on it, but couldn't get in to watch it, which is really frustrating.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't doing that for me. That's funny, though. Almost as funny as Mars looks. How about can we say that real fast? The model is such a joke.
Valve are going down this route of sort of cartoony kind of characters. I feel like Pangolier is a little bit similar. Although, to be fair, Grimstroke is quite a cool...
Grimstroke's cool, yeah. Pango and Moink are a bit cartoony.
Especially maybe. Pangolier was a bit... And Willow as well was quite
Willow's
cartoony.
I don't know. Grimstroke was super huge when he released too. The model was ginormous and they made it smaller.
Oh, did they?
Maybe they'll do the same thing with Mars.
Yeah.
Because he's huge.
That ult is obnoxious.
He is big, yeah.
I just feel like he... his hero doesn't look finished. He's so sparse.
Yeah.
There's not that much detail to him.
Yeah, just got a weird mohawk.
I guess they're done with... It's funny that they released both Pangolier and Dark Widow, they released with an Arcana, and then Grimstroke and Mars, they both haven't. I was expecting Mars to
really expecting them to have an Arcana with the Mars release. Just because it's free money.
Yeah. So... It's been a little while since Mars has come out. I feel like we've waited a good amount of time.
I think the dust has definitely settled on the hero.
To some extent, yeah.
I mean, someone said, 14 days of Mars. No, 14 years of Mars.
Played in one day.
Yeah. There's been enough time that's passed. It's not like we're recording it on the day where we honestly have no idea. We've got there are definitely some conclusions to draw straight away, I think. Maybe I'll start off. I don't know what other people think, but I think we'll start from the beginning and the early game and stuff. This hero is very mana hungry, right? I think Soul Ring is seemingly core.
I think Soul Ring's core in the side lane. I do think you can get by with Bottle Wand if you're playing the mid, and if you're playing the mid correct in the sense of controlling runes and always making sure to be getting your bounty runes and whatnot. I think that can work. But yeah, I do like Soul Ring as well because it synergizes with his strength and it's just a great mana item.
Yeah. No, I when I first played Mars in my first game, I didn't really address mana at all, and I became clear that I was just dying for a Soul Ring.
Yeah, definitely.
It's definitely the W. It depends how you skill him, but I think in most games people are getting at least 2 points in W at level 3. They're going Q, W, W, or sometimes 1, 1, 1, and getting basically maxing out the W first because it's such a great harassment tool. And even though it's low mana, you still kind of want a Soul Ring to be able to just spam out that W as much as possible to harass and get CS. It's quite a nice utility lane spell just for harassment and securing CS and stuff like that. And so the Soul Ring fits well if you're maxing out that spell.
Yeah, the early game skilling is interesting, I think, because I've seen every variation of... Well, not every variation, but a lot of variations. The W is really good, like you say, for being able to CS, harass. But then I'm sure I've seen people max the Q as well for just going for the maximize your kill potential as much as possible, because obviously the damage goes up, I think, decently, and the stun goes up. But then you've seen, I think it was Rezo who's got 0-2-2, so no spear gets his passive.
I've seen another game, I don't know if it was Rezo or Dendi maybe, or someone. No, I don't think it was Dendi. I think Rezo, it was a side lane Mars, and they went 1 point in Q. It was Mu, went 1 point in the Q, and then didn't go back to the Q until we'd maxed W and E. So we went Q, W, W, maxes W, maxes E, and then so he just gets a value point at level 1. So there's different ways you can do it.
That's interesting.
I would say for the side lanes, it's worth getting that point in Q for the runes, because you can really easily pin someone when you're going for a rune contest, and you can just throw them away.
Yeah,
you can launch them out of that rune, and they can't contest it as well. So I think I would feel confident in getting the Q at level 1 at this point. What do you think about his leveling, Adam? From what you've seen?
I think he definitely has different skill builds depending on what lane. It's got really nice stun scaling on the spear from 1.6 to 2.8, 0.4 per level. It's pretty big. And then it's like a 325 nuke, which is at the high end of what a Q usually does, along with the range going up too. That seems to be really important. A lot of people, from what I've seen in games, I think they went into the demo, leveled themselves up to 25, throwing the long range spears, and then they didn't realize, at level 1, it's not going to go near as far.
I think that's definitely true.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I feel like I like some type of 4-4-0 build almost.
Yeah, I don't mind that either. Max your kill potential.
I really like. I know we're going to talk about positions later, but I like so I haven't played him, but the idea in my head, I really like the W max, the God's Rebuke max, and I do agree he's a Soul Ring hero, and you can farm very fast from the games I've seen with this W. Like you can push waves super hard.
Yeah.
I think he's in my head, I think he's like a Tread Soul Ring Radiance hero, and you just shove like crazy. That's how I would play him in my first game.
Right.
Yeah, the fact that you can have a wave clear spell on 70 mana, 10-second cooldown, not many heroes could match that.
Yeah, I think just based on how the numbers work, I probably would want to get one. I probably in terms of 4-4-0, like value point in the passive. 25 is a lot of damage reduction from the front.
It's the value point in AM counterspell, right? Same deal.
Yeah,
it's like the value damage reduction is pretty.
Yeah, I think I definitely agree with Adam when you say that the maxing W is certainly the most common thing. I think probably the most consistent way of playing him. And then I've seen people get a value point in Q. I've seen people get value point in E. I think, well, in terms of like leveling later into the game, I think you always get your ult, because the ult is so enabling for the hero. The amount of damage output you have, you'll get a kill at level 6 if they don't have a hero that can escape from your arena of blood. If they're half health or less, they're just dead. your Arena of Blood, you Gods Rebuke them into the wall for a proc for your ult. Then you can Q them in again for another proc, and then there's no hero that's going to survive that.
Yeah, as long as you hit your Q, you've got like a 90% chance to kill anyone who's not some.
I was about to say, is it possible to hit your Q or miss your Q? But then I realized you meant like miss hitting someone, because if you hit somebody with it, it's going to hit the wall.
Yeah.
It's not big enough to not hit the wall.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can. I guess you can miss.
Should we have said what the spells do, in case Q and W aren't familiar with people who haven't played the hero?
Yeah, do we want to go through? I can read it off.
Just very.
Yeah, sure.
Just very quickly.
So the Q, Spear of Mars is what it's called. Starts off, I guess. So he throws a spear in front of him. It's kind of think of it like a Wind Ranger shackle shot or something. If he hits the first hero he hits with it, they'll fly backwards, and if they hit like a cliff or a tower or a tree, they'll be stunned to it, and it pushes other heroes out of the way. And so that scales from 100 damage to 325 damage in 75 damage increments, and then it goes up from 900 range to 1200 range at 100 increments, and then stun goes from 1.6 to 2.8 seconds at 0.4 increments, and 14-second cooldown at all levels. That's pretty spammable. 100 mana. It seems like a good rate for the spell, but he really has no intelligence or mana pool. So
yeah, he's got such a small mana pool. You use your spear once or twice, and then you're struggling. But yeah, go ahead.
The W, God's Rebuke. It's physical, like cone shaped. He throws smashes his shield in front, and it's got a crit, 160 to 280, going up by 40. It's got like a 500 range cone in front of it, and it goes from 16 to 10 seconds from lowest to max, and then 55 to 70 mana cost. It's got a 25 damage bonus on heroes, which I guess if you multiply that by the crit, it's not insignificant, but it's also kind of weird that it's tacked on. And another cool thing is this has True Strike, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah, that is cool. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's very helpful.
Yeah.
Also, it's worth mentioning with the W that am I right in thinking that for each unit that you hit with the W, each individual unit that you hit has a chance to proc any attack modifiers you have?
I think it's everything but Battle Fury works.
Right. I see. Yeah. So you can, if you hit a creep wave of Maelstrom, you could theoretically proc Maelstrom, 4 times.
Or if you just pop Satanic and W and you go up to full.
Yes, yeah. Satanic's an item that's been picked up a lot for that reason, from what I've seen.
Or Vlad's even.
Vlad's, that's another good point, yeah. Really good value with lifesteal. Do you want to run through the Bullock, Marco?
And then, so when we talk about his E, we're on about his passive, which is called Bulwark.
Bristle front.
Bristle front, yeah. This is his passive where he takes less physical damage when hit from the front, 25%, scaling up to 70%, and then half that damage reduction when hit from the side, so 12% up to 35%. So it's quite cool because it's this defensive, tanky kind of passive, but necessitates you being in an aggressive, forward-facing position.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
So it is a cool dichotomy there.
Definitely. So
it's good for the tower diving.
I've seen the, just like playing around with it, it feels like the side reduction, like I guess in a circle, like the degrees, it seems like a large section of you's side. I don't know. Like, it feels like he's getting a lot of damage reduction on his model, like all the way around.
Yeah.
Unless he's like running right in a straight line, almost, it feels like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd agree.
It's definitely an interesting spell. It seems, when I first read it, I just saw 70% damage reduction. I know it's only physical. You think it's going to be insane. But at the same time, the fact that you have to face them, it's not as effective as like the Bristleback synergy, in terms of he has Bristleback, and then it procs his W, which stacks, and he can spam his W. He doesn't have to be facing you to use his W. So the synergy with the Bristleback passive and his spells in that way works a lot better with Mars. Whereas I feel like the Bullock or whatever, Bulwark, it doesn't have as clear synergy as the rest of his spells. His ult, his W, and his Q all sort of have synergy, and they're really interesting. But the E is sort of an interesting spell.
I like that it just enables him as a frontliner brawler, basically.
It means that you can't man fight him.
Yeah.
You're wasting your time if you're right-clicking a Mars from the front. Like, just don't bother.
It synergizes nicely with the ult, I feel like, because he's going to cast the ult and he's going to be facing you. And then some people might give it the Crystal Maiden treatment. We're like, oh, we got to just kill Mars while he's in here. And you can't man fight him.
That's not going to work.
He's like, the rest of his spells, he's going to face you. So I guess it does synergize nicely from that standpoint. He's going to be looking at you as he's casting everything.
Yeah, it is interesting, but then also you think the time when it's the best to be tanky is when you're in danger of dying, and when you're in danger of dying, you're going to be running away.
Yeah.
So it's quite interesting in that sense.
I feel like he's going to definitely be the hero where I'm about to die, stand my ground, and like attack and trade instead of running.
Definitely. So I've seen games where Mars has been ganked. And in those situations, I almost think it's way better to just stand your ground and wait for your team to turn up. And that's going to be 70% damage reduction. That's a lot of time for them to turn up versus just trying to run away from the gank, in which case you may as well be a squishy hero. I know he has reasonable strength gain, but he's not innately tanky. And I don't think you particularly build tanky items on him as well. I'm not really seeing Crimsons, not really seeing Vanguards, like a little bit, but you're seeing much more of things like Blink and Drums and stuff we'll talk about.
Well, and then also, I feel like he's a hero, like his escape is like what we said, stand your ground or whatever, but if he's going to get away, it's because he's going to throw the Q and push someone way far back.
That's right.
Or use the W and push them back. Because he can't turn and run. But the Arena of Blood... 550 radius circle basically locks your team can go through it, the opponent team can't walk through it, and they can't, if they're on the outside, they can't like auto attack into it. It lasts 5, 6, 7 duration, so it's got collision, so you can spear people to the wall. And
that's
also
the big synergy.
It's got like undead warriors, I guess, around the circle, so if an opponent bounces into it, they get hit and knocked back, and it does like 150, 200, 250 damage. Oh, and it's 200 mana cost at all levels, and it goes from 90 down to 60. So 90, 75, 60 cooldown.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I feel like it's kind of I feel like it doesn't last long enough at level 1. At least from what...
Well, at level 1 you get it so you can proc your W and your Q. It lasts long enough for you to get a W and a Q
kills
off.
with it.
You can proc him on the wall a couple of
5
times.
5 seconds. I think 4 would be difficult. 5, I think you can get a few of the skeleton hits off when you impale them to the wall.
If I was going to ship out this hero, I'd probably make it 7 at all levels, and I wouldn't reduce the cooldown on the ult.
I think 7. Oh man.
If he gets nerfed, I think it's going to be the cooldown on Arena of Blood.
I think the cooldown, it would be a bad spell if the cooldown was longer, because it's not like it's hot. It's quite easy to play around. Once you're level 18, like heroes are going to be, some cores are going to be having BKBs. So once heroes have BKBs, like this hero's.
But I think it's so great. So what I really like about the ult is that it's so versatile. One aspect being it's solo kill, pick off potential. So you get your ding 6, you want to be using it straight away. In the early game, basically any hero you have kill potential if you ult, spear them to the wall, get a W. But then also when you go into the later game, a core might have BKB, but position 3, 4, 5, mid game, this guy still got kill potential with his ult. If he's got a blink, exact same combo. But then the ult's also got a second aspect of the team fight and control, so it's such a great initiation. If you blink in, bang down the ult in this area that then the enemy team cannot escape from. If you want to fight, you're forced to fight, or at least you've forced the slaughter to go on, because the enemy team literally can't escape unless they have certain spells.
Right, like innate spells, innate escapes.
So Force Staff wouldn't work.
Force Staff doesn't work, but spells do.
So they have to have which
a lot of heroes don't.
A lot of heroes don't.
There's decent number of heroes that can get through it, but it's like
I mean, there's 100 heroes. Like, a few will, but just the idea of forcing a fight, controlling the enemy hero, really cool.
Yeah, it's great space denial for sure.
Can you fly out? I'm thinking Firefly, Arctic Burn, Night Stalker flying. Do they escape?
I don't know about those.
I feel like they would, because
I feel like they would because everything else does.
So what I think. Oh wait, you can impale someone to a building.
Yeah, to the fountain,
to a tower,
or to like a tower.
To a tower, yeah.
Really, to a tower?
To a tower, yeah.
I've not seen that yet. So I think the ult would be classed as a cliff in terms of the actual perimeter of the arena.
Yeah, I think so.
So I feel like someone could fly over.
Because slot like pounce and leap.
Yeah, leap
go over.
But then
puck,
Force Staff
fuse,
doesn't is a weird one.
Even like Jug, Spin can walk through.
Yeah,
so
Spell usually goes through.
Not even a cliff then. It's just kind of a magical wall.
Yeah,
some things can penetrate and some cannot.
I mean, it's just a really nice spell. You just like Venn diagram out half their team, right? And then you just take the fight on your terms. It's almost like force fields in StarCraft. You're just cutting off their team in half.
Because of the way because of the way God's Rebuke and Spear of Mars works, you're going to be able to hit them into that wall. It's not like enemies can just stay still and not be affected, because you'll just give them a fat critical shield into the side. And then they're going to be stunned.
I do think it's necessary for them to get impaled first, because the knockback on the W isn't that big.
I'm thinking if they're standing by the edge but not walking off, you can W them.
Yeah. And a great thing about the ult is that it only takes 0.5 seconds to form, I think.
It's so like nothing. Yeah.
You can form it
it's instant
such that a hero starts on the edge.
Yeah, it's instant cast. Yeah,
it's 0.6 seconds.
You can't cancel
what it says.
Yeah, I tried to cancel it in demo, like with my S.
Yeah,
and I don't think it worked.
Yeah, it's instant cast, but there's formation time, so it's like really nice for catching someone at that right moment.
But another aspect I think is theoretically cool one is the defensive one of how attacks can't go in. And your allies can walk in and out. So if you cast the ult, and like you say, this Venn diagram force field, don't include, or do include, say, an enemy right clicker, you can then save your ally who's, say, outside the ring from getting attacked, because you can't attack in or out of the ring, right? Alternatively, you could run inside the ring as protection from the enemies outside the ring. So there's that bit of defensive angle to the spell as well, which I think is quite cool. Not really seen yet because it's kind of a niche, but
it's like Arc Warden bubble kind of.
Yeah, that kind of thing.
But yeah, it's nice.
It's like an Arc Warden bubble that you can't even walk into. Theoretically, if you're being chased by a ranged hero that can't get into the arena, you could be on like 1 HP, throw it down, and just
TP out.
TP out exactly, and watch a sniper just.
It's like a pit model. Just do it around your team, and then the sniper or something can't get in and kill you, or some other enemy. So it's got a lot of versatility to the ult. It's a cool ult just in terms of what you visually see and what it does. I think I like the hero. I know I didn't think it seems.
I like the music when he ults. It's pretty funny.
Yeah. Oh, in terms of the clutter of this ult, it's wild.
It is wild.
Yeah. The visual clutter and the music is like, geez, Louise.
Kebab time.
It might be the most visually cluttering spell in the game.
Put a freezing field inside that, some invoker spells, you'd have a disco going on.
Yeah, it's like Monkey King ult and this ult are like visually cluttering. But they've got to go all out, haven't they? New hero.
Yeah.
It's definitely hard to understand what's going on. I definitely have not gotten used to it yet. This is like, there was a time where he was on my team, and we were sieging tier 3, and we casted it, and he's like, you guys know you can walk in here, right? And I'm like, oh, yeah. Just like respect the walls.
Yeah. I don't like it. It's so annoying that after every kill, it's like, dun, 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 dun,
yeah.
Dun. It's like, come on, you're supposed to be a god. You're like a children's entertainer right now.
Yeah, he just doesn't read as a god to me. He just seems kind of like...
He seems like,
I don't know.
He does seem like a memer, yeah.
He's making a lot of puns and jokes.
It's a cool hero name.
Shield is massive, goodness me.
Yeah, I think you could get some badass items on this guy in the
Yeah,
future.
like some sick custom shields.
The shield and spear have got potential to get mega cool.
Yeah.
So, where do we want to go next? I mean, we said Soul Ring is core. Is Blink core? I think it's.
I don't think so.
Whoa!
So, go on. Explain what your thinking is on it not being core. I know you mentioned earlier we're thinking more like Radiance route.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel about it. This just depends on the team. I would think the team lineup. I guess I could foresee a world where this guy is your initiator. So
okay,
I think that's the normal world.
Yeah. So what's this other world where he's not initiating with a blink? Is this the pos 1 kind of right clicker build?
Yeah.
Okay, you need to win. You need to sell this to me. My initial and current view is I don't see him as this pos 1. No blink dagger hero.
Oh, all I have to go on is one Gork stream where he had really nice GPM and he just said that the hero farms really fast.
Yeah, that's true.
So I just feel like you can shove waves really hard with
that's true.
with the Radiance plus Bolt. What's that? God's Rebuke.
God's Rebuke.
I mean, you don't even need a Radiance to shove
you
waves.
just one shot.
Yeah, you just one shot them ananyway.
Yeah, and just make the team make the opponent react to you. And then you don't
actually...
I agree with that. I just disagree with it then skipping the blink, and I don't think you can treat him as a pos 1 because
you definitely get the Radiance before a blink, I would think, if you were going that route, because and then you can get the blink really fast, I guess.
Do you get a Midas if you're going to go Radiance?
I don't like this.
I don't think so. I'm unconvinced on the new Midas.
Yeah, I mean, just from the games that I have seen, he seemed really effective with this blink dagger.
Yeah, I don't think this hero should be seen as not hitting heroes. I think he can hit creep in terms of clear a wave, but then should have his large focus on making fights happen and making kills happen. Which is what I see the blink enables him. I don't think he should be seen as this hard farmer who's just going for gold and going for late game items, because he's just going to get outright clicked eventually.
Yeah, I don't think he's a hard farmer. Right. I just think you can get a Radiance in the game within the next 15 minutes. Because if you take all the towers, you're going to make them react to you, and then they're all right there for you to cast Arena of Blood anyways.
Yeah, I guess if you're going for a Death Ball lineup, you could justify no blink, but I really feel like his role has to be making kills, making fights happen, because of just his skill set.
Yeah, the awkward thing about the making kills happening and that mindset, obviously, I mean, I do agree with you that from what we're all just going off, it's not like this series has been out for long, we're all just going off what we've seen, but, I have seen the blink be, super effective. The only awkward thing is that the ult, oftentimes it does feel like you need the ult to be the initiator to make stuff happen. So even when you've got blink, you are still playing around and it's a short cooldown, but you need to basically be, even if you're going the blink route, you're still focusing on pushing waves when you don't have a reason.
Yeah, I think you want to make sure waves are always pushed, but I think you can still make things happen without his ult if you've got +1, because you blink to position your spear.
Yeah, setup for the spear.
You don't even need a setup. The blink's the setup. You hit them onto a tree, and with a +1, you can likely get many kills. I don't think you need to solely rely on the ult in terms of making stuff happen.
Yeah, but then you need to hit your Q, though.
Yeah, that's what the blink comes in.
Yeah, so the blink theoretically lets you hit the Q.
That's why people
you
get
need
blink.
A damage dealing +1, because if you're going blink, he doesn't have that much damage.
Yeah, but what if you're Stan and you can't hit your Q?
If you can't hit your Q, tap out, take the max MR.
That was
just too soon.
All you need is 1+1.
Yeah. No, the blink, it does turn your Q into the best Earth Spirit kick ever.
2.8 seconds stun.
Yeah.
4.3 seconds.
And then make it 4.3, phenomenal.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's too much to ask for a +1 when you're ultra.
No, it's not too much.
Not many heroes could roam and control a game and make space purely on their own.
So let's
need a team involved.
Yeah, and this item stuff is sort of game dependent as well. So what, Marco, I know would you say that you're keener, your top position for Mars would be mid lane? Or do you think, because off lane is he's naturally being played in the offlane the most.
Yes.
Because he's tanky and he's a strength hero. But do you think this hero will emerge as a mid laner?
I don't. So I'm a bit unsure.
It's matchup dependent.
Matchup dependent, yeah. I think his mid lane. I think what's amazing for him is that he wants the XP to then make stuff happen.
Yeah.
You also can more often than not reliably farm in the mid lane versus say an aggressive, messy off lane. But then the issue with running in mid is that I think a lot of mids would kind of school him.
They would, yeah.
So, like you say, matchup dependent whether you can really safely put him mid.
It depends how. I'm uncertain about how well this hero recovers. If you put him in the mid lane,
and he gets crapped on.
Even if he just loses,
yeah,
he doesn't feel like a hero that. It's just kind of grim to have a mid lane hero that is already behind on levels, and then the way he needs to contribute is like this brawly off-laner mold of like getting involved, and suddenly he doesn't. Basically, I think how I look at him is from behind, he doesn't feel like a core. If you're running him as position 3 or mid and you're behind, he just feels like he may as well be a position 4 because you're basically just using your spells.
Yeah.
You don't need the farm, and sure, the levels are okay, but like I'm saying, this is in a situation where the levels aren't that good.
Yeah, what I'd say to that, I guess, is I think this hero would do well at not going behind, and at worst case going kind of equal or not too bad.
Yeah,
because he's say naturally tanky. His Q is an amazing spell to push enemies away, so he shouldn't be dying too much. And then, like we've said, his W is so great for clearing waves, hitting creep. I do think he can kind of catch up a bit, but I've yet to see him in a game where he's mid and like gone behind, or in the off lane and gone behind. So it's hard to say.
He does, I think, in all roles, at least in the ways that I've seen him built, he can suffer a little bit from the bristleback syndrome of if you ever get to a situation in which the enemy team doesn't really care about you, you're behind and the ult doesn't enable your team. Say they have cores that can escape easily, and things like this, and then suddenly he can feel quite useless. That ult, I think you really need to be against heroes that you can abuse in that arena of blood. If you're against heroes with blinks and with innate abilities that can get them out, then this hero starts to feel weak, and that can happen at the moment because he's being first picked in all the games.
Yeah,
you can pick against him. I'll put it this way: he's not going to be a first pick hero in like 2 months' time. I don't think.
Yeah, I don't know. There's definitely time. Like I've seen him in game be absolutely useless. And then if he's like that far behind in casting his ult, it's like, okay, we'll just kill him,
Yeah. I appreciate you not mentioning my name when you said I've seen him. No, I've seen useless.
I've seen even worse.
Even worse.
Even worse. No, I've seen where he was like 0-11 before.
Yeah.
And that was somebody's first game, and then like that guy did not know what to do, which is fine. We're learning, but it's just like build a Vanguard and a Lotus Orb, and like, oh, all right, like that's. You're tanky, I guess, but none of your skills do damage now.
It's worth mentioning. Well, we didn't mention this at the start when the hero came out. This is a hero that takes some figuring out versus previous releases. I remember when especially the most recent one, Grimstroke. People, the spells themselves, regardless of synergy and regardless of how you skilled them, were just so innately broken as anything when Grimstroke was released that he had this crazy win rate immediately, and it was just obvious that he was broken as anything. Whereas Mars, I feel like those first couple of games on the hero, especially if you haven't watched replays, it's not quite as clear what to do, and that's why he was losing and getting crushed in a lot of games in that first day.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. Can we see his pick rate over time? Win rate over time? Is that what you're...
Yeah, that's why I'll get that up now.
People will definitely underestimate how fast, or overestimate how fast that Q is. I've seen lots of misses on the...
It's so satisfying when you dodge a Q.
Yeah.
That makes you feel like a god gamer.
It's not fast, yeah. It's slower than Hook, like the projectile, in terms of trying to nab someone. So it's interesting, he's got a... He had a 47.5% win rate on the first day of his release on Tuesday. Smaller sample size, of course. That jumped to 49.3% yesterday. And today he's actually got a 50% win rate, 50.4.
On the climb.
So it is on the climb, yeah. It is pretty even across the board, actually. The win rate's basically the same in all brackets.
He's over 50% picked in all brackets.
Yeah, that's wild, yeah.
Yeah.
52%, yeah. You would expect this hero his win rate to rise, but that's going to be natural for all new heroes.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem to me, I can't think of a spell or something that just needs a nerf straight away. I know Grimstroke was almost emergency patched because his Inkswell was such a joke spell.
Yeah.
It's still getting
screams out to me. It's still getting nerfed, yeah.
I don't know. After the first day, we were like, my friends and I were talking, and we almost thought he would be like Pango and get buffed after being released.
Yeah. I think Valve they'll want him to have his time at the top of the win rates because he's a new hero. So I think if he stays around 50% win rate, I think he'll be buffed. But who knows? Maybe they just add him to captain's mode and then see what happens.
Well, like you say, it's only been a couple of days, so the phase of people getting to grips with the hero does take a bit more time because A, for it to not be banned, and B, for you to get the hero picked. It's hard to do, so definitely one to get comfortable with.
Kind of want to try him as a 4. I just want to hit people with the Q.
What is it about his potential as a 4 that gets you excited?
I don't know. I just feel like he's kind of tanky even without his Bulwark spell. 3.6 strength gain, 3 armor, 313 move speed at level 1. I just want to run at people.
Yeah, I think if I was playing him as a 4, though, I would want to get the Bulwark. It would be the W that I wouldn't be that interested in. I'd be going Q and I'd be going for the spear and the tankiness and leaving the God's Rebuke out. Because the thing about these 4s that you see, these strength 4s like Brewmaster and Sven that have seen some play, you want to be tanky, and even Ogre, you want to get a Stout Shield, be annoying as anything in the lane, just hitting people that can't really trade with you back, especially if you've got this Bulwark or whatever. Then also having the utility of that Q. I didn't think of him as a potential position 4, but with we took some notes, and now that I'm thinking about it, it's something that I definitely want to see.
I think what's underrated is that he has 2 spells that move heroes. 2, and then 1 that locks them in. But like 2 movement spells.
Well, the W, it's not really a movement though.
Well, you can...
It's super minor.
Throw someone way back and then push them back even further.
The pushback...
It's super minor.
500? I don't know.
No, on the W, the shield bash.
Yeah.
No, that's not the pushback.
Like if they're...
That's how far you can...
If they're right next to you, do you not push them the whole distance?
Wait, really? I'll test it.
Well, anyway, I think it's definitely enough. When I first played him, one of the things that I thought was cool is that I could push enemies away from... when there's like a stutter attack, there's like a ranged creep, and you either get the deny, or you...
Oh, yeah.
And then you can push them away, so they can't get it.
Or you can just be... It's like, think of the spear as kind of like a snowball save from Tusk. Like you're saving your carry by throwing away... Or like knocking the other guy way back.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not super minor as I thought. It's not
500.
It's not 500. Everyone gets pushed back maybe 100.
Like 300. Oh, okay.
And
200? I'd say 200, yeah.
Yeah, so it's not super minor. It's not crazy 500, but yeah, it is quite cool.
2 movement spells.
You could definitely stop a kill happening if you push someone back, for just pushing them into your team even a little bit is quite helpful. The movement potential of the Q is super cool, though. Also, Blink to synergize with, say, Blink behind someone and spear them back into your team, like a reverse skew or whatever.
I think this is why they buffed the Ironwood branch, right? So you just throw a branch behind somebody and then Q them to it?
They were setting up the branch Q strat.
Yeah.
It's just nice to have a skill shot.
Yeah, it's always fun.
It's always good to have a skill shot. We saw a couple of the Twitch chat VAC confirmed clips where pros have skewered like an invis hero after tracking their movement for a while. Seen some of those really cool plays.
Does it reveal if you stun someone?
I don't think it reveals. It says Spear of Mars can hit invisible units.
It doesn't reveal. I played a game. Was it our game where we were against a Ricky? And someone
we were against a Ricky.
Yeah. So you were playing Mars and you used the spear trying to catch a hero who was stunned, but it hits an invisible hero in front.
Yeah,
didn't reveal, but we were then like, we now know Ricky is here.
Oh, okay.
So position 4 is kind of an interesting one. We talked about the others, so do we want to talk about the talents?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's talent time.
I just want to quickly say, do we think drums is core?
It's not core, but it's a great item to go.
Pre-Blink, I've seen it quite a bit, and it does synergize well with him, I think, for the stats and general movement speed.
It's a patch item. It's just a great mid-game patch item. It's like if Mars came out in 7.20, you'd be seeing 3 braces on him.
True.
But now this hero is, and braces is still something to consider. Don't get me wrong. I do think I've seen games where people have got 2 braces and just been like tanky.
True.
To even more, we know what braces do by this point. I don't think drums is core, but if you're going the blink route, I think it's really nice to just enable that brawling option. Even more. Because if you're going blink and you've just rushed blink after Soul Ring, say, you kind of need that item to sort of, so you're not just a naked, as it were.
Yeah.
And drums fits the bill quite well because it feels a bit gross going blink and then suddenly trying to reach up for this like
having nothing but a blink.
Yeah, like then trying to get like an AC or like a heart or like some fat item. It's nice to have that. I've seen Armlet as well.
Yeah.
It's kind of fits the bill a little.
I think I did Bracer Blink after Bottle Wand when I played it mid yesterday.
Yeah, if you're mid, I'd say you probably want a Bracer. But I think Bracer is fine from the off lane as well. It just depends what team comp you've got and how quickly you want to get that blink. And if you're doing the funky Adam position 1 Radiance, then you just want to be getting that Brady time.
I think you could Brady as the mid. That's what I did. I did feel it worked.
Yeah,
well.
after.
It was quite cool. You see Sanjin Yashas, that's very common.
SMY.
You just synergize as well with the hero.
I think Heart's a good item on it.
There's a lot of choice item-wise, I would definitely leave it on Blink is core. Maybe Adam disagrees. But...
Yeah.
No, I think Blink's probably... Well, I don't know what core means, like what, 80% of the time or something?
No, I mean literally every single game that Mars has played, he should have a Blink. Is how strong I'm saying core means in this scenario. That's a bold statement, I know.
Yeah, it's a bold statement, sure.
But I think in 95% of games, he should have a Blink.
So it's not core.
I mean, it's definitely really good. It's probably more core than Radiance. I'll say that.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, definitely.
So talents, 10 strength,
20 movement speed's quite nice, but
it's hard to pass up 10 strength.
It's 8 strength.
It's like 3/4 of an Ogre Axe.
Is an Ogre Axe 10 strength?
Yeah, 8 strength is like how much extra damage on the W?
I don't know, work that out.
That math's too hard for me.
It's weird because it's like 100% is double, so 200% is times 3. So 280 is 3.8. So you're looking at like 8 strength being about 30 damage, 30 bonus damage.
It's a tough sell for the movement speed because, I mean, if you're thinking about literally in terms of items, it's a 250 gold Windlace versus an 800 gold, 8/10 of an Ogre Axe, if you know what I mean.
I think that's a very good point.
So just in terms of gold content, and it's a strength hero already.
You get the HP, the status resistance.
Although move speed is harder to come by.
Yeah, I feel like I would go move speed, but I don't know.
Really? You would go?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. What's the 15 choice? We've got a choice of 8 armor, or is that 35 damage?
35 damage. Troll has a 40 damage talent at 20.
At 20. That used to be 50 damage at 20 as well.
And now Mars has a 35 damage talent at 15.
It's very significant. I think even if you're playing him as some utility 3 or position 4, I mean, you just want the damage because then you're clearing waves faster with your W, you're farming woods faster.
It synergizes so well with the W.
Yeah, you just gain way more than the 8 armor, which in a fight makes you that little bit more tanky. Yeah, the gold XP
I like
and
the
damage
damage.
output is just too much.
And also, just with the way that the passive work, I do think 8 armor shouldn't be overlooked too quickly. I would go damage as well for the reasons we've just said. One thing that is worth considering, though, is that another reason why you'd want to get the damage and not the armor is because I feel like when you're thinking about Mars, the way his passive works, reducing physical, you're more worried about magic damage. And so the armor is not something, if it was magic reduction on the passive, then sure, armor would synergize well. But when you're trying to tank up on Mars, you're probably looking to get a hood, rather than armor.
Yeah, I would maybe get the armor talent on a 4 position.
Yeah, so think about it, but I think everyone's going to get the damage probably.
I feel like that could be a nerf potential in terms of finding a smaller area to tweak him. I don't see it unreasonable to reduce that to plus 25.
Yeah, on Dota buff, the damage is taken only 57% of the time. I don't really know what to read into that. I think maybe people are just taking
8 armor. It is a good amount of armor.
There is a difference in win rate.
It's interesting.
2% difference in win rate for the damage in favour of the damage.
Win rate is impossible to read from.
Yeah, win rate's impossible to read from, but it's worth.
But there are some talents which are like 80% pick rate, so
yeah,
it's definitely quite close.
Just while we're talking about damage talent, doesn't Necrophos have like a 30 damage talent at level 10 or something crazy? When I think about heroes that have, that's a crazy. That's
He's
a
got no
bonkers
attack
talent.
speed though. Yeah.
Yeah, that's such a great talent for Necro though. When I play Necro and I get that talent, it's like, whoo, we're right clicking, boys.
Yeah, I really notice it.
And 10 strength as well. He's just outdone Mars in 2 departments. The 8 strength versus the 10th. Necro talents, man.
I think Mars might be a little stronger.
So, level 20?
So this is the one with the spear stun lasts 1.5 seconds longer, or there is 200 more damage to the spear. This
525 nuke. 525.
525 nuke, true, but then...
No, it's just you go the stun.
Yeah.
4.3 seconds stun. It's huge.
That's huge.
The extra work and damage and control 1.5 seconds gives you at that stage in the game, level 20 onwards, is game changing.
But think about the long range Spear of Mars kills for 525 damage.
Some anime throw.
I wish they...
It's like the Game of Thrones episode. No, a bit of semi spoilers, like a season or 2 ago. Do you remember that?
Spoiler alert.
I mean, I won't explicitly say what happens, but the scene where there's that character running across the field when he's been released as a prisoner by Ramsay Snow. You've seen Game of Thrones, Adam. Remember the scene with Ramsay Snow when he throws the spear and snipes someone? He releases some prisoner. I won't say names. Well, okay, you just said the name. Yeah, and he's running across the field, and Ramsay Snow's like waiting, and then throws a spear from like a mile away.
He shot a bow, but...
Oh, was it a bow?
Yeah.
Oh, in my head I was literally picturing him launching a spear like a javelin in the Olympics.
No.
Oh, okay, never mind.
Might have to cut that one out, yeah.
Yeah, I'll bleep the name as well. Adam will be like, you mean...
Yeah.
I was picturing Ramsay Snow full-blown javelin throwing a spear. Basically, that's Mars in real life.
Yeah, so what on this 20 talent, or just a Mars talent in general, I'd love a talent that like doubled the range of Q for some like long-range snipes. Yeah. I don't think anyone would take it, but that would be a fun talent, just like some cross-map tomahawks. Call of Duty style.
Level 25 talent.
Speaking of level 25 talents, we've got the... Arena of Blood grants the team 100 HP regen, or the God Tribute plus 80% crit. Can I just ask a question straight off the bat? How does the HP regen work? If you stand in it, you get 100 HP regen?
I would say that's the case. I've never seen it.
I've never seen it.
Yeah, it seems to be that way. Bulldog had a video today about it. The creeps were getting the regen too. So
very interesting. If the creeps get it.
It looks like everyone has a salve around them. It's basically what it's animated to look like.
100 HP regen is like insane.
Yeah.
What's the Wait, actually, I'm getting mixed up here. What was the regen of a heart active?
Well, that's
400
percentage.
Oh, is it? Oh, percentage.
I think a salve is 40 per second for 8 seconds, or maybe 50 per second at most. As we've mentioned a lot, Mars has massive damage output, kill potential, etc., but it's not necessarily the case that he'll always be played as this damage-dealing core. Like we saw in that Gork video, there's a Morphlin mid and a Lifestealer in the game. You don't necessarily need more damage, therefore he could be played as a more utility 3, or even, like Adam says, position 4. In that scenario, the HP regen talent isn't totally unreasonable if you're not playing the hero in a way to deal damage and whatnot. Question is whether you'd hit 25 in that kind of game. But if you did, that makes your late game fight pretty strong. But maybe
you could just use it as like a siege something.
Literally a siege, yeah.
Throw it down. Yeah.
Yeah, it depends. It has to be a lot better. This is in my mind. If I'm hitting 25 and I've got the choice of buffing a 60-second cooldown spell versus buffing my 5-second cooldown spell.
But if you're playing the hero that he's not this frontliner right-clicker damage dealer, how many times are you using W on
Yeah, sure. It depends how good that crit is going to be for you in the game.
Yeah.
By the time you're level 25, though, you'd imagine you'd have some damage items.
Yeah, but are you literally next to an enemy hero to W them in the fight? Is it that kind of game, or are you...
Well, you'd hope
it's
so,
700. It's 700 health total. That's a lot.
What, 700 health?
Well, it's 100 regen for 7 seconds. So
yeah, if you're standing in it that whole time.
Yeah.
So 700. Oh.
It is pretty big. If the enemy can't disengage and they have to fight you in this ring,
I'd also say if the enemy has a kind of team where the damage output is spread and not single target focused.
Yeah.
So we're not like a PA who's critting you for 1,000, but
damage
over time, AoE. Then it's definitely got more credibility. Like a Venom ult gets popped and you pop this down, counteract it. I mean, that kind of idea could make it viable. I'm surprised its pick rate is so high looking at Dota buff.
Well, it's like 50-50 pick rate.
50-50, yeah.
I wonder how many level 25 Mars games there've been.
True, but
it would have been a lot.
They just see the number 100 health regen and just think, oh man, it's so cool. 80 crit is a little bit harder to quantify in your head, you know?
Yeah, certainly, yeah. That's an interesting one to think about. That's a very interesting choice at 25 and a real choice that you'll get. The choice might be made for you by the time you get there based on your game.
They should replace the Arena Blood regen and make it Spear of Mars global range.
Oh, that would be cool.
If only it like didn't, you could like clear waves, you could snipe people from across the map, would be pretty cool.
Yeah. Or Bullet gives you a shield on your back as well at level 25, just 70% damage reduction.
Or throw 3 spears at level 25.
Oh yeah, run it.
Oh god, I can't be bothered with more split shot stuff. I've had enough with like the triple stifling dagger and the Mirana shotgun.
That'll be a meme.
Yeah. I'm gonna take the liberty here based on the interest of my own time tomorrow editing. So I've already been going for about an hour, so I think it's probably a good time to go on to leave Mars. There's plenty more games to be played of Mars, and yeah, like you say, Adam, patch time.
Minor patch, but yeah.
Bit of a minor patch, but kind of a surprising one, because it felt like the other mini patch wasn't too long ago, and suddenly we've got another one here.
Well, was it a 2-week gap between them?
Yep, pretty much 2 weeks.
Yeah.
From the 16th to the 2nd, so yeah, about 2 weeks.
Yeah. I don't know, we don't need to spend too long on these things, because like we say, it's quite minor, so one of the things that's quite minor is this change to Midas at the top. It continues the trend, because I think this is the second slight nerf that Midas has got, I think. Did it get nerfed in 7.21b?
Yeah, it went from 200 to 180, and now from 180 to 160, so 20% worse from its original state. It
definitely is. It definitely, these nerfs are being felt. It's not a Midas isn't just an auto build on cores like it seemed to be in those majors a few weeks back, where you were seeing 5 a game. I think it's probably fallen enough. Well, it's hard to say because the thing that makes Midas strong is the attack speed.
And the experience.
Yeah. So this gold is it's still strong in its own right, but the side benefits, as it were, the gold side benefits are nerfed. It's still a good item,
I think it's fallen far enough to not be every core wants to get it. If I'm having a particularly good lane, I'll get it. If you can get it from the 8 to 11 or 12 minute mark, super probably solid. But I don't think recovery Midas is a thing.
I mean, it depends on the hero, but yeah.
Annoyingly, there was a lion. I think it was a position 5 lion in my anti-mage game today that went Midas and started building Aghanims, which is really not advisable.
Don't try this at home, children.
Yeah.
With that Midas, you could have had a Blink Dagger. With that point booster, you could have been halfway to your Blink. I wasn't too happy to see that.
I think the heroes that it's synonymous with, I think Lifesteal is still going to go Midas Radiance. It still fits the bill. Where it's strong, it's still strong. It's just not, it's minor. You said it enough.
Yeah.
We don't need to do it in order, so I'm just going to jump into a random change. Storm Spirit.
Yeah, that one stood out to me as well. I quite like that.
Did it?
Yeah, man. I'm keen to see Storm back.
What difference does it make?
I didn't even realize that Electric Vortex slowed your hero. So
you're not a sweaty Storm player. So just to clarify, Electric Vortex no longer slows your hero, is the change. So yeah, in the past, you'd cast it, and then basically your hero would have, it felt like 100 movement speed, so you'd cast it and you couldn't really move.
Yeah.
So it's a bit awkward, like you don't really gap close, it's basically just a 1 second stun almost, but no gap close. But now, you can cast it, and you're not kind of rooted, no movement speed, and so you can walk over them and get your Q on them more reliably, basically.
Does this make a difference, though?
It's a more significant change than, say, the attribute changes that you see in these minor patches, is what I'd say.
Okay.
He's definitely gotten, pieces every single little patch.
Pieces,
so.
yeah.
Yeah. I think the most interesting change, for me, is the Monkey King change. They changed his mischief, so he can't dodge stuns and things like this anymore. Now he's just invulnerable to the damage.
I love it.
Why do you like it?
Wait, you like it because it nerfs him?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a classic Smurf pub stomp pick.
Yeah, it's true in that sense, but also it's annoying when he dodges projectiles where it's quite easy to dodge, and it's just that's a bit too easy. But I do kind of like the highlight plays where you see a mischief dodge like an RP or something. It's quite fun.
Yeah.
But that's no more. Did feel a little bit abusable that they just randomly gave him Manta dodge invulnerability out of nowhere.
On a 20-second cooldown for free.
It's sort of a bizarre, because when Monkey King came out, this mischief spell was just a meme thing, and then suddenly it's this insanely strong aspect of the hero.
Like the minefield sign on techies.
Yeah.
It's an extra, this doesn't do anything.
It's still interesting. You can still be cool and dodge Lagunas and if you're really good.
Yeah, and tower hits or something.
Tower hits, yeah.
But even spells like a Storm Hammer hits you, yeah, you might not disjoint the stun, but you can at least save 300 damage.
Yeah.
I think it's good that it's still relevant in a little way. But yeah, maybe it was too strong.
Yeah. As a mid laner, the change that made me the happiest is Kunkka. His not being able to deny creeps with Tidebringer damage, that makes me so happy.
Yeah, it's huge nerf.
That's a huge nerf to mid Kunkka. That is almost the whole point of the hero in the mid lane, is that you've just bossed the denies. It didn't go on cooldown. So you could just Tidebringer your own creeps to deny them and just keep going. There was no cooldown, no cost. It was free. And now he can't do that. He can still do the same offensive things that he has been able to do, but now, if you're against a Kunkka, you can't. It's way easier for you to get your XP. It's just a straight up nerf. It's just rough.
Yeah, he's just not crazy lane dominator like he used to be.
Yeah. Any other changes that you thought, Adam, from 7.21c?
There are funny ones. The Jug healing ward is super slow now. That got hit twice. a lot of like scaling changes. Like Lifestealer went from 3.6 strength gain now to 2.9 over the course of like 2 patches, but I still feel like he's super strong.
Yeah.
The one that I'm really wanting to try, I haven't tried yet, I just looked at it, is Abaddon Miscoil. Getting buffed 20 damage at level 1. So up to 120. And I always thought that spell was super underrated because it's a 4.5 second cooldown that you can just spam 120 damage.
Get the mangoes out
of. And so I tested it right before the podcast. A Skywrath Mage level 1 Q with 4 Mantles of Intelligence. Do you want to guess how much damage it does after reductions?
Wait, so they deplete the mana by using Q? Is that what you said?
What?
How much damage?
So do you want to,
one Q does?
What one Skywrath Mage Q does damage-wise?
Okay.
With 4 Mantles of Intelligence.
Is it 120?
I was going to say like 130.
After reductions is 90, so about 120. So
you can tell we've been scarred by Skywrath Mages. We're just rolling high on the damage.
But that means Abaddon's level 1 Miscoil on a 4.5 second cooldown, just like Skywrath Mage, does 90 damage as well.
I guess the thing is comparable, but how big is Abaddon's mana pool to nuke it forever?
Well, it's only a 50 mana cost spell.
Okay, so
it's like Omega spammable, which means I want to pick it as a 4, go to a lane, spam myself down, don't even have to kill myself because you can suicide off a Miscoil.
Yeah.
Shall we do a podcast about how to play position for Abaddon?
Yeah.
Repeat episode 1 and just change the word of Skywrath Abaddon.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't scale the same way as the Skywrath Q off of Int or anything, but I don't know. Might have to try that one out.
I mean, a level 2 Miscoil, 150 damage, low cooldown mana. Yeah, it doesn't seem too bad.
You convinced me. I'm ready for a party game where you go Abaddon position 4.
Let's do it. Yeah.
I think it's cool.
Because the other team won't know what to do. They're just like, what is this guy doing? He's almost dead. And be like, yes, that was the plan all along.
Yeah. Anything that stands out to you, Marco? And that we haven't mentioned already?
AA got one of the best minor buffs, I guess. So obviously the majority are all these attribute changes. So yeah, AA's int gain increased, but then the Ice Blast duration increased in a second. It is super minor, but just these minor little tweaks add up to eventually making a hero non-trash and now somewhat more relevant.
Yeah, it's playable.
I like the hero a lot because I think it's cool. I think it's got nice kill potential with a +1, and then it's all just fun, global, skill shot kind of. I've always had a warming to Ancient Apparition.
3 point, you've got a warming to Ancient Apparition, but not a warming to them in the correct locations.
Oh, because I like a mid AA, it's a blast.
Yeah.
That's a nice blast.
It's a nice blast, yeah. I played AA yesterday, felt really good.
Plus 5?
Yeah. But, I mean, I really like just whenever a hero gets a +1 duration, just just 1 added, like the Luna Eclipse Beams goes up 1 at every level now. That's same type of deal. That's a big difference.
Oh yeah, it was like the Ursa Overpower tick going up 1. Just shot him into
relevance.
The realm of relevance.
3.4 in int gain for AA. That must be one of the highest. That's really good int gain right there. Not that it really matters for AA, because it's not like he's got particularly mana-hungry spells.
Do you know who the highest is?
For int gain? I think it's Pugner, isn't it?
Yeah. Yep.
Someone's a Pugner player.
When they changed the, I guess what was the big patch, like 720, 721 maybe? They changed the scaling on things. It's when they changed the movement speeds. And they gave everyone like 15% bonus to their primary attribute. He's the first hero that went above 5 for any attribute. He has over 5 int gain.
Wow, that's really high. I think the Centaur still have the highest strength gain, like 4.2 or something?
Probably,
yeah.
I would think. It's like, 5.2 for Pugna, and then Centaur is 4.6 strength gain.
4.6, wow. Potentially final. Anyone else welcome to jump in with more, but one interesting, not so much a change as such, but just a narrative that's, I think, coming back. I think Alchemist is coming back. I think this hero's... I've been thinking about Alch for a while.
You just saw him in my game like an hour ago.
I think he's a strong hero at the moment. I think in the right hands, an Alchemist is... Because he's been buffed incrementally. The jungle has been buffed as well, which is a great Alch buff. Stacking, and obviously it's the same story with stacking, the way that with his passive. If you just stack for an Alch in your pubs, you're going to have a good time. Now the Ancients, the change to have less Ancients is good for Alchemist as well. I would... I'm not an Alchemist player, but if I was, I can imagine being quite happy with the changes that we've been seeing over time. I think this hero is ready to make a comeback, especially in the pro scene. I think pro teams are going to be running an Alchemist a lot very soon. That's just my own inclination. I don't know if you have anything to say about Alchemist or just any other changes that you want to go over or just give a shout out to before we wrap up.
One final change I would point out would be the general XP earned when being denied increased from 30% to 35%. This is a point that Kyle did a big rant on a few weeks ago about how denies were too strong and the competent teams would win the lanes, and then the deny mechanic and early game laning meant it such that the games were easy and kind of formulaic after the laning stage. And I think this kind of change where denies are less hurtful looks to soften that kind of idea that he spoke about.
It loosens... Someone's already said this. This isn't my words, but I can't remember who said this, but it loosens the lanes of it in the sense that it allows, particularly the off lane, it allows this position 4 to not be quite as locked into the off lane, and they can roam a bit more. You can decide to secure your mid lane and your safe lane and let the suicide lane happen. Let your offlaner basically just be denied.
Because they're not as hurt.
They're not as hurt, exactly. So it sort of loosens that rigid 2-1-2 a little bit more.
True. That's a good point. That's a cool point.
Basically, it just means you're more able, in the pro level, you're more able to leave one of your heroes out to dry in the offlane and focus on other things. Whereas before it was 2-1-2, you have to win all your lanes. You have to be in a position to win all your lanes, or you're going to get toasted by the amount of XP you get from denies. So I think it's a positive change. I'm happy with that. Them changing. Denies are pretty brutal.
Any final mentions from you, Adam?
Viper is still Viper, even though he got hit.
Goddamn Viper.
That hero, oof, that's a scary hero.
He's too good. A hero like Viper should never have a win rate this high. Such an annoying
What
hero.
even is it?
It's like 57% or something.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So high. That's like...
For such a basic hero as well. It's not like a Lycan or Visage who requires skill and practice. It's like...
knowledge of the game.
Yeah, Viper's just...
Hey, you never got in for a one-bite kill before? Like, that's a classic line.
Yeah. Yeah, Viper's still good. These nerfs are minor enough that...
I mean, the value point of poison attack isn't near as strong, but who cares?
That's true.
You still got another constant.
It's the attack slow. Like, who cares about attack slow in the early game?
Yeah.
You're not dying because your attack is slowed. You're dying because your movement's 0 and you've got massive DPS in your face. Whatever.
And they changed the way his Q works, so it's based off your missing health.
Yeah, and you're shadow striking the Viper over and over again and losing all your health.
Yeah. And like you say, this nerf to the Q doesn't matter that much because you still get the value points so that you kill at level 6. So at level 6, you slap the Nether Toxin down, they have reduced magic resistance, you ult them, and then you give them 1 Q, basically, 2 Qs max, and they're just dead because of the way the Q works. They're going to lose all of their health from this buffed ult and the Nether Toxin DPS, and they're just gone. And this Atos Greaves build is...
That's so strong.
So good. Atos Greaves is a build and a half. I think just on any hero. You can do it on Necro. I've seen it on more than just Viper now. That the build itself is super strong. Atos Greaves, but Viper does it best.
Double crown feels good.
Yeah, Crown Gaming.
Thanks, Matumba man.
Yeah, goodness me. Yeah,
I think I remember reading a thread about that and seeing a comment saying that it was some guy in China that was the OG. Not sure.
Thanks, China guy, for passing it along.
I remember someone getting a bit upset that too much credit was going to Matu.
Are you kidding? Didn't you bring over? Marco brought over the Viper strat from Southeast Asia.
Yeah. What did you see in C? Like what? How many games did you play? Did you see any
I played one, and I was watching games over the shoulders of people. Just kind of like lower average games. Trying to think back to the one I was in. Who did I play? I think I played Antimate. I got absolutely carried by this CK on our team. He got Blink and was just moshing people. Did I see anything wonky? Oh wait, I think there was was it first pick Pudge maybe in the game? I don't know.
That's standard
That's
procedure.
just standard global Dota.
Marco getting carried by Anti-Mage, what's new?
No, I was Anti-Mage.
That's what I'm saying. Oh, Marco getting carried on Anti-Mage, what's new?
Yeah.
But yeah. So yeah, that's a pretty solid podcast for me. Mars 7.21c. I'm super interested to see how Mars develops. We might touch on him on the next pod, which will probably be coming out on Tuesday or Wednesday, I imagine. We'll have to see. Scheduled to be how to play position 1. So
that's a big
in the mid game onwards. We're not going to talk about early game. We're going to talk about how to play position 1 after the laning stage. So carry players out there, put a date in your diary. And I'll say it again, send us your questions on email.
Or any comments on the podcast. It'd be really cool to respond to, have a bit of back and forth.
Definitely. Yeah, and watch out for a new logo as well. Keep your eyes peeled for that. New logo coming very soon, probably over the weekend. So yeah, thank you very much to Marco and Adam for joining me once again. Thank you to Mars for being cool and having, by the way, the coolest level 25 voice line ever.
Oh wow, that deserves a shout out.
Yeah.
This is DotA.
That could be the outro.
Oh, yes.
Ask Val for the rights.
Oh, if I had the rights to that, I would so use it for the outro. But unfortunately, I don't, so you're going to have to listen to a final whistle again. And you're going to have to listen to it now, because we're off. See ya.
Later.
Ciao.